Alright, I'm going to give you guys a real quick and dirty on how to make the lens assembly. It's really going to be determined on what your store carries. Some places carry better quality stuff than others. Home Depot carries different things than Lowe's. If you have a plumbing supply store, I suggest going there because you're going to be able to find everything you want. 2-inch coupling. These are pretty standard. You can get them anywhere. The bushing is what's tricky. This is a bushing that's 2-inch to 3/4 reducer. This one, though, has threads on the inside. These aren't the number one choice. You want this one, which is smooth on the inside, or a slip fitting. This will allow you to have just the shortest amount of distance between your light and your staff, and it's also a lot easier to install. You don't have to worry about twisting it and possibly breaking, one of your solder joints on the wires or breaking a wire itself. Really, the only difference, if you look at these lights here, I took this one apart. This one has a threaded fitting. That one there's short glued right into place. You lose about 1.5 inches. It's not that big of a deal, but it is cleaner looking when it's nice and short like this. So first thing you need to do is go find yourself some glass. I use double laminated tempered glass. This one here has a chip in it, so it's never been installed, but for the demo purpose it's fine. Get your 2-inch coupling, mic the inside of this, have this water jet cut, drill it if you think you're good enough, and this should fit right down inside on top of the lip on the inside of it. Just like that. Take yourself some epoxy it inside from the back side and the front side, and let it dry. Recommended, you use 5-minute epoxy or you use something stronger. Make sure that it's suitable for PVC though, because a lot of epoxies don't work well with PVC. Follow the directions on the package you buy. Once it's epoxied in place, you can come back through it. I put 5200 on mine just as a, double, triple check it. Put it on the inside and the outside. Let it dry at least 7 days before you put the stuff in water. Go buy yourself a light. This style. LED is obviously going to last 10 times longer than an incandescent or halogen. A 25-watt halogen is only going to give you about 2.5 hours off of a 12-volt battery, where an LED, I've had them plugged in for 24 hours and never had an issue. They will fit directly inside your 3/4 inch bushing. Just take that, drop it in place. That's it. That's all you need. Throw yourself a dab of silicone or 5200 on the back of this just to hold it in place. Let it dry. Keep the backside clean. You want to be able to make sure you get PVC glue in here and get a real tight joint. Obviously, once this is dry and once your lens is in here and dry, PVC glue that to that. That's your lens assembly. Now, depending on if you got the threaded fitting or the slip fitting, you might need to use a threaded to slip adapter to bring it back to PVC. Can't barely see it because I cut it real short, but that's what this here is. So all that happens is you take your threaded fitting, thread it in here, and then you'll have to cut yourself a shorter than this piece. That'll go in there. Then your 45 will slip in on top of it, and that's your lens assembly. You can see how much longer that one is than that one. It'll probably be out here somewhere. That's how you make the lens assembly. Okay, so you've made your lens assembly, you've let it sit for 7 to 10 days, you know this thing is cured and it's sealed. Now you need to have the rest of the pieces put together. It's very simple. Here's 2 different designs. I'm actually going to show you the prototype of the third, which is that little white guy down there. All you need to do is get yourself a piece of 3/4 inch PVC. You need to get 1 3/4 inch T, 2 3/4 inch end caps, and that should already be part of your lens assembly from here down. Take your own measurements. Put the handle in your hand and figure out how long you need the end to be. You want it about ankle high. Then this here is just for balance. That's all it is. I have mine just above my shoulders, almost to my head. That's all you do. Then you take 2 wires, a red and a black, or whatever colors you want, twist them together with a drill so that they're nice and clean. Fish them all the way down to the end. What I like to do is I like to put female ends here, and I solder them in place. I'll put male ends on the end of the wire, bring this here, clip my wires on, and then I just hard PVC glue everything and make sure that it's nice and tight. If you want to throw a little bit of extra sealant on any of these joints, feel free. Obviously, if you know how to use PVC glue, you don't need to do this. Then once you come back up to the top, just put all your pieces here, heavy duty PVC glue everything in place. Come up here, throw some 5200 or other sealant inside of this cap, run your wire through it. Voila, you have a light. Now this one here, you'll see this compression fitting. I didn't have a truck at the time and I needed more space. So that I can take this, separate it, fold my light in half, and it was just easier for storage. This one also had a switch. I was using halogens on this, so battery life was a concern of mine. Now that I'm using LEDs, obviously I don't have a switch anymore. I don't recommend doing this unless you absolutely have to. It's just another spot for water to get into. But this gave me a new idea. Why do I need to have all these wires? LEDs require no power. So I went to Batteries Plus and I found a smaller battery that fits inside of this. I'm going to drill this out and I'm going to put a touch button in here, hide my battery in here, which can now be my new handle. It's pretty comfortable. You can just click it. If it doesn't work out well, I'll wind up putting it up here at the top and using it as counterbalance, which will allow me to drop this down a little bit. Might be a little bit more comfortable. But that'll get rid of all of these wires. I don't have to have a backpack. I don't have to carry 1 or 2 batteries depending on what type of light I'm using. I think it'll just be a lot easier. That's how you make these lights. And for your gig, we're just using a piece of 3/8 stainless steel rod. We don't actually have any barbs or anything on it. And it goes down just like a needle. We drill a hole at the end of it. We'd run this nylon through it, tape the crap out of it so it doesn't come off. Put about 6 or 8 feet of the nylon, tie it to a piece of a pool noodle, let that float behind you. So when you see the fish, you just stab the fish here, stick your hand underneath of it, work him up, thread him over the thing, and he floats behind you. You never have to take the fish out of the water or off your gig. There's no chance of losing the fish. If you use the gig that has the forks on it, you have to stab them, take it out, put it into a cooler. It's just something else you have to drag behind you, and you're going to risk losing the fish. We find this works much, much better. Super easy to sharpen if you have a side grinder or a file. If you can't get access to the stainless steel rod, just let me know.